atrocity in Nigeria today? Should we blame our colonial master that came in and merged Nigeria together? Or should we blame the government that refused to do the right thing to support the citizens in every ramification that you can think of? Someone must take the blame. Someone must be responsible for not doing the right thing, and that is why millions of Nigerians are going through so much difficulties. Once again, this is still Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's hear the final bit of what Governor Autumn was telling us.
The thing don't get clear. Say this government, it don't mean well for this country.
Did you hear that? This is the sitting governor telling us that this government, the APC government, that the president, the current sitting president that was fighting to become a president since 2003, eventually had that opportunity 6 years down the line. As we speak right now, the Yoruba social cultural group Afenifere is advising millions of Yorubas to get ready and defend themselves. Also, we can confirm that the president knew that the 76th UN National Assembly is just about 13 days away, and the chief of staff and others have now run to US ahead of the UN Assembly, plot to silence Nigeria agitation groups. According to the news coming out of the stream media, I've learned that the mandate of the top government officials was to try to infiltrate the ranks of Nigeria's self-determination groups, which earlier announced that they would storm the UN National Assembly to demand a full referendum to opt out of Nigeria. But as we still speak, the Yoruba social cultural groups, Afenifere, have also released a statement that every individual must now also defend themselves. There's a breaking news also from Zamfara, where college students have kidnapped. The situation still on the open grazing that we are discussing this evening on Star Radio UK. What can be done to elevate the pains of the masses in Nigeria this evening? This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. What more can be done? What more can be put in place so that those at home, their pains can be a little bit eased, and those of us outside might also be pleased? Since the government refused to do the right thing, so who is going to take the responsibility? Who should now take that responsibility since the government is running away from that responsibility? My name is Olayomi Koiki. This is Star Radio UK, the 1st of September 2021, 1848, just about 12 minutes before 1900 hours, as we continue to bring the program to you live. Are you concerned? Are you worried? Are you concerned with the development? I'd like to appreciate every single one of you that have joined us this evening, from wherever you're watching us from. Afenifere, as we're going into the second segment of this program, what have Afenifere says, State of the nation, Nigerians should defend themselves against terrorists. Are we now at the state of war in Nigeria? Once again, are we in the state of war? Let's hear the last bit of what Governor Autumn said in that interview.
To be their slave. Even me, if I accept that I will be their slave, they will give me appointment. They give my people appointment. The press handler or Mr. President. The man that lie they talk now. I think that him they will give him name saying lie Muhammad. Make it a lie, waka anyhow. You don't see the thing where the man talk. He say they don't give him 6 billion. The governor there don't deny say he don't get any 6 billion. So that man, I suspect say he dey on something where we don't sabi.
That was the Governor Autumn of Benue State. During the week, we had one former Navy spoke to one of the mainstream media back home. We've all listened to that interview. But there's a bit of that interview that I want us to listen to. But this was what the current governor, El-Rufai, said prior to becoming the governor of Kaduna State. Let's hear.
What's in the box? This is my weekly HelloFresh. Flexible delivery, right to your door.
We are just applying military force and we think we can resolve an insurgency. It's not going to happen. I've been in government. I've run a territory. And I know the amount of information I get, security reports that I get as minister. The president gets 50 times that. And I put it to you and I challenge anyone, including the DSSS, to this. The SSS know who these insurgents are. They are not ghosts. They know them.
So this was before El-Rufai became the governor. So if the SSS knows where these terrorists are, just like my brother Deji Adeyanju spoke about it today in one of the papers I was reading, that it seems the SSS or the DSS are more interested in going after the lazy part of the crime in Nigeria rather than hitting the nail on the head. Bandit, Boko Haram, not more powerful than the DSS and the military government supporting them. This is coming from Deji Adeyanju, a popular Nigerian rights activist, has suggested that the federal government is fueling the security challenge in the country. Should we now be concerned? What is the way forward? Which way forward is the topic this evening? Once again, good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Deji Adeyanju suggested that the federal government is supporting bandit, killer heads and Boko Haram in their clandestine activities. The right activists explained that these criminals were not more powerful than the Nigerian security agencies, but support from the government has kept them afloat. Then why is the president running after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and someone? And likewise, Chief Sunday Igboho. So why is the government more of interest to these two individuals as against the terrorist that is creating havoc, killing so many of you? Once again, this is our Radio UK, 6 minutes to 1900 hours. State of the nation. The statement coming out. The government running straight to New York ahead of the UN 76th General Assembly. So why is the government worried about the 1 million march coming up and all the self-determination groups asking now that it is time that the union brought together that is not working must also be dissolved? President Muhammadu Buhari's chief of staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, among other officials, is traveling to the United States on Thursday, tomorrow, ahead of the United Nations General Assembly bill to hold by September 14. According to report that part of the mandate of the top government officials was to try to infiltrate the ranks of Nigerian self-determination groups, which earlier announced that they would storm the UN Assembly with demands for referendum. Just Moyele Sowore has been kept in Abuja for nothing. The question we should be asking the federal government is, why is the government more interested to hold on to the activists, those that want the self-determination, as 12 innocent Yoruba agitators were kept in the underground cells of the DSS and kept in a very, very bad, inhumane, degrading, and also their right was also abused. 8 of them have been released, but 4 of them is still in the hands of the DSS. And the question remains, can Nigeria continue with all these situations being faced by many Nigerians on a daily basis without any full welfare, well-being, security, education, opportunity, jobs? The university is totally in chaos. The resident doctors are on strike. Some are trying to run out of the country for job opportunities. I'm just reading as well that ASU might also go on strike. Last year, 9 months was ASU strike. All the university students must probably have got pregnant by the time they returned back to school, because they were all sitting down at home doing nothing. Even though in the university, there is not proper, well, standard education services for most of our university students that are graduating in their thousands, but there's no job opportunity. A very good evening to those of you watching us on Instagram this evening, and those of you that have joined us on YouTube and also on Facebook and Twitter. It is called Niger Voices Live with me, Olayomi Koiki, on Starr Radio UK. The state of Nigeria, which way forward? Let us hear again what these brother has to say. The happenings in Nigeria has got to a stage that even Nigerians at home are now confused. They're waking up every day and they cannot understand why their life is miserable. Rather than fixing some of this problem, the government is now putting in top officials like the chief of staff and others to run to UN ahead of all the activities that the self-determination indigenous groups are all preparing. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped all the way from Kenya, rendition. Yet, the Abba, the tailor, that you would expect to be in America for fraud, crime, the government is now trying to shield him. But the government was quick to go after the kidnap and rendition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya, just as the raid that took place at Chief Sunday Igboho's house on the 1st of July, 2 innocent people were killed. And as we speak right now, the bodies have not been returned. Which way forward is the question this evening for those of you that are watching us from different parts of the globe. From what we heard, we'll be attending. Interesting to see the chaos that will meet up with him when he eventually arrived in New York, with the million march being prepared for him, that it is time that the nepotism, the contraction of the government that has killed, failed millions of Nigerians with the kidnapping must now end. Let us hear what this brother has to say.
That most of us are really scared to talk about. The rate at which insecurity, kidnapping, and crime are getting worse is alarming. The president has warned that he will treat the promoters of insurrection in a language that they will understand. But this administration have already treated every Nigerian in a language we already understand. It is that bad that poor people cannot even afford Gary again. Nothing is permanent in Nigeria except suffering. Over 83 million people now live below the poverty line of 137.
83 million out of 209 million Nigerians are people living in extreme poverty. They cannot guarantee 3 square meals. I'm sure you probably have a friend, a family that have reached out to you this week, last month, demanding your support. Which way forward, Nigeria?
1,430 naira per year. Mr. President, pure water is now 20 naira. How can you even know?
Pure water is now 20 naira. The safety of that pure water is not even guaranteed. So many people are consuming so many things. Have you read the news about the family that died after eating suya? A lot of our listeners might not know what suya is. This is like a roasted meat, grilled. What could have gone wrong? 5 family died after eating suya. Are you concerned with the situation in Nigeria, or are you those still thinking that things can turn around? Let's hear more from this brother.
Gave you the opportunity to write your name in our arts 2015 for a 4-hour. Your administration promised 1 a day for a student. Now some families cannot even.
These are the promises that we heard from the government of this current administration. Promised millions of Nigerians, 1 million primary school students would have access to good quality food. But the question is someone getting school meal in your own local government? Let's hear more.
A meal a day. Maybe we didn't know what it meant then. It is more or less like a clear factual sentence that everyone could truly understand. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign lost its stream as it dragged on for many years. In Nigeria, it got...
A lot of people have also forgotten about the Bring Back Our Girls. So many girls are still being kidnapped as we speak today. Zamfara have also got the share of that today. Once again, the Star Radio UK, we do apologize for those of you listening to us as we're having a lot of network connectivity back to the studio in London. Many students, we do not know the numbers as we speak today. Bear with us, those of you. As we say, network can be of a very big issue. We're back again, and we do apologize once again. Thank you very much to my producer working tirelessly behind the scene this evening. And I welcome you. And remember, you can also join us tomorrow, property hours, whether you're buying, you're selling, or you're looking into market rate in UK. Inflation has already kicked in Nigeria. Exchange rate this morning is 717 naira to a pound. It's about 550 naira to a dollar. Which way forward is the topic this evening, the state of Nigeria. Let's hear more.
God is your shield, you better find an armor too. If you're speaking in tongues, make sure you are at alert. The northern region is flourishing on the wealth of the south, but the south are busy making just of them.
The northern region is making use of the wealth of the south. You go to Niger Delta, you go to Ogun State, you will cry for the people that are living in those axes. You go to Ondo State, you go to areas where the wealth of Nigeria that should be used for millions of Nigerians, and the question is, who should we blame for all these chaos and atrocity that is taking place. Who should we blame? Who is responsible? A very good evening and welcome to Starr Radio UK. We're still having a bit of delay back to the studio. The network this evening is also playing out. Once again, a very good evening and welcome. Okay, we lost that, and we see if we can get back to the studio as quickly as possible again, as we're still having a big problem connecting back to the studio. Let's give it a go again. I'd like to appreciate every single one of you that have joined us. As we always say,
this is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
yes, very good evening and welcome again to Starr Radio UK.
This is Starr Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, we are the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, we do apologize for the technical back delay, and it seems we're back again, and we'll try to resolve all these problems before the next week program if we are not broadcasting from the studio. Once again, I welcome you as you're settling in. A very good evening. Let's quickly welcome all our viewers. Good evening to you, Mamawa Funke Bello. Welcome to the program. Good evening to you, Mamawa Omolara Iyabo Ajala. Good evening to you, Mamawa Bosse. Good evening, Shina Yusuf. Good evening to you, John. Bukola says, we're getting there, brother. Okay. Good evening to you, Badamose Ismaila. Says, God will help us from this zoo called Nigeria. Good evening to you, Yemi Tokpe. Good evening, Jimo Taufik. Ismailia, Jadi Subaru, good evening to you. Good evening to you as well. Kumo Africa says, Agba Kunibaje Lorile. But sir, I thought it's try to reach the world, as we know that even the people who are not Nigerians but understand English language also watching because they are interested in what is going on in Nigeria. Yes, this is Starr Radio UK, so we're not going to speak Yoruba. So if you're expecting Yoruba, you will have to wait for another program. Good evening to you, Godwill Ebose, all hail the Biafra, Ijoma Lemoha. Good evening to you as well. Good evening, Oba Ola King says, Koiki, please, could you speak Yoruba? We can't speak Yoruba because this is not a Yoruba program. So if you're expecting Yoruba, this is not a Yoruba program. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is a program that has been running for the last 4 years. It is not a Yoruba program. Good evening to you, Fatima Mustafa Fatai Dabiri. Good evening. Good evening to those of you on Instagram. Don't sing. Very good evening to you, Ogbongo Bongo. Good evening. Nigeria, it's at war. Ogwabele. I love that as well. A lot of people do not agree that Nigeria is at war. But Fenifere is telling us to go and defend ourselves. Oyelaki. Good evening, Ibrahim. Good evening to you, Olua Muyiwa Anthony Akintoday. A very good evening to you. Good evening once again to those of you that have settled into the program. Born Black, good evening. Oba Olakin, good evening. Chinedu Ekebe, release Mazin Amdekano, Biafra referendum now. Yes, we all demand a referendum, and on the 14th and the 15th, we must all make the 1 million march to United Nations National General Assembly, rather, which is coming up. Abida Kun Ayo, very good evening. Adegboyega Oluwasegun Lusoji, good evening. Michael O. Awe, good evening to those of you in Canada. Oluwaseyi Amos Ogundeji, good evening to you as well. Good evening, Oluwato Yamalara Fatima. Good evening to you in Egypt, in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, wherever you are. Good evening, Alaja Idiyatu. Good evening as well. Prince Tajuddin. Good evening to all our brothers and sisters that have actually also returned back after the long 60 days in the hands of the DSAs. Let's quickly say good evening to those of you watching us as well on our YouTube. I say welcome on Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Quite a lot is happening in Nigeria, and the pain is just on a daily basis. What happened to the new intake of the Boko Haram terrorists that have now kidnapped more students from Zamfara College as we speak today? All this is happening today, and so many people are now concerned. So many people are worried with all these latest development happening in Nigeria on a daily basis. Should we now defend ourselves, or should we seek the international community to help us out, since the federal government of Nigeria have lost the plot? Since the government have lost the plot, should we start asking support from outside the country? Once again, you can watch Star Radio UK on the YouTube channel, on Twitter. It's now 10 minutes past 1900 hours as we continue to bring you this live broadcast today, the 1st of September 2021. Let's read some of the comments as well coming from YouTube this evening. Ibukun on YouTube says, taking care of university lecturers and healthcare doctors means strikes must be avoided. You're quite right. The government is not concerned about doctors' feelings. The country in the middle of pandemic and poverty. Good evening to you, Adekunle Adepoju. Those of you in Texas, good evening to every one of you. Good evening to those of you in Chicago, in Brazil, Cuba, Jamaica, Ghana, Sierra Leone. Good evening to you. Terry Omoalade says, Equato, Yoruba Nation now, no going back. Good evening to you as well. Good evening, Olatunji Awofeso. Koiki, come out with your own policy. How will you govern Nigeria if given the chance? There's no way you can govern Nigeria. And I'll give you some of the reason why you cannot govern Nigeria, because we are not the same. It's like telling Scottish that has the control of their own government as we speak today. UK is divided into three. You have England, you have Wales, and you have the Scottish. So the person living in Scotland, the SNP, if you're not aware of that, I'll give you a bit of background to it. You cannot govern Nigeria because the process that brought us that union in 1960 have been distorted by the military coup that took place in 1963 and 1966. And that is why we are where we are today. And all the lies that we were told in 1959 has now been exposed by the late, the British young man that was in Nigeria in the 50s during all those atrocities committed by the British government. We've now been told that the Northerners never won that election. Somebody should remind me the name of that young British that was there. I'm trying to remember the name. Aaron Smith. So when somebody's saying, let us think about how do you govern Nigeria, Nigeria cannot be governed because we have a constitution that is not what we signed for, even if we are meant to be Nigerians. In 1960, a constitution was put in place. And that means we have what we call the regional government, just as is operating right now in the United Kingdom. Scottish students have more opportunity than someone that is schooling in the same university in England. As a Scottish, you have more opportunity in your healthcare as against an Englishman in England. And as a Welsh, you're also not just your language, your culture. So Nigeria cannot be governed. That is the question to your answer, Olatunji Awofeso. And I hope that also gives you the background of the reason why people are now demanding a total self-determination. Good evening to you, Mizzy Gold, Yoruba Nation now. Odua, Tide, Ekweto. Once again, continue to leave your comment. Good evening to you, Omodadi on Instagram. Good evening to you, Craig J. Walata76, Babaniye. A very good evening to you, my brother. That is my cousin there. Good evening to you, Bakari2596. The situation in Nigeria is so frustrating. Good evening to you, Freddy, on Instagram. Adegboye Bank, good evening to you. You cannot become who you want to be in Nigeria of today because things are still going to get very worst. It's just the beginning. This is Star Radio UK, 14 minutes past. I'm going to be talking about the next conversation in regarding what the Afenifere are telling Nigerians, not just Yoruba, they're telling every Nigerian to defend yourself. Defend ourselves from what? If Afenifere, a Yoruba social cultural group that has been known for so long, is now telling every Nigerian, go and defend yourself. My question is, who are we defending ourselves against? Let's finish that video from the young brother that was telling us the understanding a lot of things happening in this country called Nigeria.
On social media, dehumanization in the East, and we all kept quiet as if nothing is happening. It is never an easy thing to be bold and truthful in this country.
A very good evening to you, my mother, auntie, sister, Abiodun Taiwo, a woman that is there for everyone, regardless of what she has gone through, especially after the July 3rd Lagos mega rally. These are individuals that believe that the Yoruba must come out of the Nigeria location 419. And we are not going to back down. I'll be reading a statement released this morning, or rather this afternoon, from Chief Sunday Igboho for his lawyer to tell every Yoruba sons and daughters. A very good evening to those of us. Adeyemo Temilade says, Ekuisha. A very good evening to you. Once again, good evening to every single one of us from wherever we are watching. And I say welcome to Starr Radio UK. Yes, Mama Abiodun Taiwo says, let's keep on the awareness. More police media foreign rally. Oludele Farumi says, Yoruba nation now not going back. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to those of you that have joined us on Starr Radio UK.
A lot of people just want to hustle and get out. It is now looking as if you die for nothing. Right in our eyes, heroes are being reduced to zeros. Innocent brothers are killed and no justice is being served. Now demons are coming out as saviors. People inform us that these malorum stupiditas in common duhem. Kidnapping is booming in many parts of the country and it appears to have become a big business. Human body parts are being shattered.
Human body parts being sold in every part of the country. A very good evening to someone watching us all the way from Kuwait. Taiwo, Kike, very good evening to you. To all our sisters working tirelessly. I don't want to mention the kind of job they are doing, but these are Yorubas, Biafrans, working in different parts, trying to make a living to send back to their loved ones.
Families who can pay ransom, and the government is showing little progress in dealing with this issue. Life is just too tough in Nigeria. Look at the faces you see out there. No one is really smiling. Nigerians are not demanding for money.
No one is really smiling. No one is really smiling. Are you part of that number of people that are not smiling anymore in Nigeria? Are you part of those that are not smiling?
We just demand basic things you have been elected to do. Governors have been praised and appreciated for building roads. Is it their money or our money? Do you know how many girls have simply set out to look for a job and they never come back?
There's no job because those girls looking for that job end up being killed by those taking advantage of them. We have graduates coming out on a daily basis, but yet there's no job opportunity as well.
A government that abandoned its own citizens when it comes to security issues and clearly playing nepotism. Everybody talk, we tire. But we're still going to talk in order to enlighten ourselves. Youth, please wake up because they're coming back. Social media has lifted a lot of Nigerians from poverty compared to Nigerian government. I want to notice that good people with good vision for this country don't live long or are dead, while corrupt and wicked leaders kept flourishing. Youth, wise up because they are coming.
Youth, wise up, but most of the youth are not wising up. Yes, thank you very much. Our mother Abiodun Taiwo say they can keep our mouth shut, no going back. I believe in that as well. No government, because we don't have any issues with the government. Our issue is, as Yoruba people, we do not want to be part of Nigeria anymore. At 7:30, I'll be giving you every details you need to know about the self-determination. We're just about 11 minutes away, and then we'll probably speak more Yoruba. But for now, it is still Star Radio UK. This is a program that has been running for the last 4 years. I remember we've had Ari Song came into the studio. Let's see a bit of Ari Song. I remember, Ishioma was one of that music he released when he came to the studio some few years back while he was in London. This is Ari Song. Then when he came to studio on one of the show we had, the situation is getting worse, but Nigerians are not prepared. I'll be telling you in just about a few minutes what the Afenifere is telling every one of us to go and prepare for the eventuality that is about to hit us. Ari song, Ishioma. Who knows that song? There's a lot happening, and we must do something now before it is too late. This is sound something about you I just can't say. Money. Feeling in my heart, it bust my brain. Oh baby, oh tell me what you see. The baby is not going to tell you anything by the time you impregnate her and you realize that there is no health care because the doctors are not available. So you better be careful when you are playing with that baby. When you are feeling that hotness with that young girl, but remember also that there is no hospital when that final stage comes through as well. Hey. That is Ari Song, one of my friends that came to London some few years back, and we had a very good time in the studio. Ari Song, feel it in my. One thing we need to understand is Nigeria is not going to work because Nigeria is a crime scene. Ojokata, grandson says, we want to go back home. Enough is enough. There's no home to go back. That's the problem. That's why we want to opt out of Nigeria. It is never by force to live with terrorist group, but some of our Yorubas wants us to live with the terrorists. Once again, it is still Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Ari Song featuring Timaya. Let's hear a little bit. Hey. Hey. Baby, I don't get another sponsor. Bang, bang, bang. That was Ari's song, one of his favorite of mine. Once again, Nigeria is going through turbulence. Somebody says Iletiya. It is still Star Radio UK. In the next 7 minutes, we'll be discussing everything about the self-determination, what is coming up in the next 13 days. New York is going to be very hot, but I can confirm to you, the president is also preparing a strong team to travel ahead, maybe to see if they can discuss with some of the UN to tell us Nigeria must continue, but Nigeria must definitely disintegrate. When you live in Benin Republic, you will realize that Benin Republic has more opportunity when it comes to, maybe not in big, because it's not a big country, it's not as big as Lagos, but electricity is quite stable. So many London boys cannot live in Nigeria because you will be tagged as a criminal in Nigeria. A very good evening to those of you that have joined us all the way from Alimosho local government, Oshodi local government. Those of you watching us from Osun State, Ondo State, Kwara, Kogi, in every part of the globe. 195 countries around the world. This is Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. I remember this before we go into the last segment in the next half an hour when we'll be discussing everything that you need to know. Who remember Andrew? Andrew, we were telling Andrew not to check out. Who remember this? Somebody said says Nigeria is big for nothing. Well, I totally agree with you. This was in the 80s when we were telling Andrew, please do not check out of Nigeria because Nigeria will survive. Is Nigeria going to survive? The topic this evening is the state of Nigeria, which way forward. Niger Voices on Starr Radio UK. A very good evening to you. Our mother, BC Makonjuola, says, Yoruba Nation now not going back. Ogunsakin, we must go. Yoruba Nation, no going back. Everybody's just fed up, but it seems some are already preparing for the election, which is coming up in about 523 days or so. All the medias are talking about the atrocity, the crime, the so much damage. And that takes us straight quickly before we go into the Yoruba self-determination conversation. Breaking news, like I said earlier, bandits, according terrorists, have attacked Zamfara school, taking scores of students. We do not know the numbers yet. According to the news, gathered that the terrorists who came on motorcycle, always motorcycle, and they are able to cater away hundreds of students. So where is all the security? Where is the military? Where is the drone? Nigeria, is it going to survive with all this atrocity before 2023? It's going to be an interesting one. Lai Mohammed, the information minister, will tell you all kind of lies, and that is his name, Lai Mohammed. These college students were adopted, just in Kaya Town, Maradun local government area of Zamfara State. The gunmen, the terrorists, who were in large numbers. So that means they're able to move as quickly as possible. 3 students on a motorcycle, and you multiply 3 by almost, let's say about 50 motorbike came into that building. Multiplied by 3, they're able to move 150 students in one go. Where is the security? Can Nigeria survive this time around? It's called Starr Radio UK's Niger Voices. We're transmitting all the way outside the studio this evening, but next week we'll probably be back again on some part of London. We don't give location, but I can tell you we have a strong, dedicated, producer working behind the scene. I say good evening to you, Frank. Good evening to all our presenters. Tomorrow, don't miss it. It's Property Hour. The oil has been the increment of the devil. This is what it says in 1980. If there's still the oil. Even if they burn the oil, they say Nigeria will survive. Good evening to you, Ikotun Emmanuel. May God crown our effort. There's no doubt about that. We want to be free. Is it by force to be Nigeria? Emmanuel Ibiyo. All hail Biafra and the Middle Belt. Even if you drink the oil, is Nigeria going to survive? I'm not too sure about that anymore. No matter how they try, Afenifere is now telling every Nigerian after a statement coming out from there this evening says, State of the Nation. Nigerians should defend themselves against bandit Afenifere. The Pan-Yoruba Social Political Organization, Afenifere, yesterday urged Nigerians to defend themselves against bandits, warning that Nigeria is fast moving into prepics. Oh boy, really? Do you think that Nigeria can survive? It's just a question I'm asking. Is exactly 1929. It's still Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and this is how we do it every Wednesday evening. Do you think Nigeria can survive with all this atrocity that is taking place? And it seems US is also saying, let us help you to identify some of the sponsors of terrorism. Really? It's coming up to exactly 1930, which is about 7:30. The US to Nigeria, we can help identify the sponsor of terrorism. Why now? Why is the US more interested to look for those that are sponsoring the terrorists? Is it because a lot of Yorubas, Biafra, Middle Belt are now demanding to opt out of Nigeria? Now we are going into that segment of everything you need to know when it comes to Yoruba Nation, the Biafra, the Middle Belt, or the Lower Niger, or anyone that want to opt out of Nigeria. After the induction of the A-29 Super Tucano into the Nigerian Air Force, we hope the terrorists will not shut it down. Operation defining moment in the combating terrorism and other violent extremism. U.S. Air Force Commander, Europe and Africa. As part of effort to help Nigeria overcome the continuous carnage inflicted in its citizens by terrorists and armed bandits, the United States government on Monday, some 72 hours ago, night says it is willing to provide intelligence to assist Nigeria identify sponsor of terrorism after all the atrocity of 20 years of war that they left behind in Afghanistan. Is Nigeria not going to be some focus for US? We'll have to wait and see. A very good evening to you, Super 582. Good evening to you, Awoshola. Good evening, Olariwaju Christopher on Instagram. Good evening to you, Victories. Good evening to every single one of you that have joined us this evening. Are you also checking out? Because in 1984, somewhere around there, they were telling Andrew, please do not check out. How many of us want to stay and build a country that is not ready to build you? According to the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth Leonard, made this disclosure at a roundtable interaction on the U.S.-Nigeria military cooperation with journalists at the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, noting that the discussion in this regard was ongoing. David says, I'm with you guys watching from Ogun State. All hail those of you watching all the way from Yoruba land in Ogun State, in Lagos, in Kano, in part of the northern part of the country. We still have some of our Yoruba brothers and sisters that are living there. We can only say, start preparing to return back to your own land. And now we're going to go straight and read some of the updates that we have for every one of you that have joined us this evening. Let's first talk about the press statement released this afternoon on behalf of Chief Sunday, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. And this was a message that was sent via his lawyer from Benin Republic. And it goes like this. Nothing like Nigeria again for me. 1st of September 2021, press release. I received a message from Chief Sunday Adeyemo, aka Igboho, via his lawyer from Benin Republic, lawyer Olusegun Falola, that he stand on his belief, Yoruba nation, and his self-determination because there is nothing like Nigeria again for him. He believes as a Yoruba man and the indigenous person of the land that it's time for Yorubas to stand on their own as a nation. He sent his greetings and appreciation to all sons and daughters of Yorubas around the world, that you all have given him all the drive needed to stand his ground, and he has also reiterated that Yoruba nation now no going back. We must continue our peaceful awareness and campaign accordance with the United Nations Charter and African Union Charter in seeking self-determination. also toward the 1 million march coming up in New York at the United Nations 76th General Assembly organized by NINAS. Signed, Olayomi Koiki, spokesman, Chief Sunday Igboho. That is the message coming out. And some of you might not, maybe for one reason or the other, that has also been helped to translate to a language that you might understand. Let's first play some of those languages for us.
níbi tí a ní àǹfààní láti gbọ́ mi pátá orúkọ mi náà ní agbomọlá ajírọ̀tútù lórílẹ̀‐èdè Benin Republic ni mo ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ ìkéde pàtàkì fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátá mi ò ní àǹfààní láti ka Yorùbá anthem nítorí kí fídíò yẹn má bàa gùn láti ọ̀dọ̀ Chief Adéyẹmọ aka Sunday Igboho lórílẹ̀‐èdè Benin wọ́n ní kí n sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko lájò lẹ́yìn odi pátápátá pé àwọn kí yín o àwọn kí lọ́kùnrin àwọn sì kí ní obìnrin pátá àwọn kí ọmọdé àwọn kí àgbà àwọn kí ọkùnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni àwọn kí obìnrin àwọn kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ṣe ẹ̀yìn dé àwọn pátápátá láì tí kú àwọn sì kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe ojúṣe pé nǹkan kan tí gbogbo yín lè ṣe fún àwọn báyìí ẹ ti gbọ́ mi nǹkan tí gbogbo yín lè ṣe fún àwọn báyìí tínú tàwọn ó sì dùn tí ó múnú tàwọn dùn sí ni wípé Yorùbá nation no going back orí ẹ̀ làwọn sì dúró sí níbi táwọn wà ń bí o orí pé Yorùbá nation no going back wọ́n ní kí ọkàn yín kó sì lé gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátá gbogbo ipòkípò yòówù káwọn lè wà wọ́n ní ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ padà sẹ́yìn nínú Yorùbá nation ní pé àwọn ò ní nǹkan kan lọ ṣe nínú Nàìjíríà mọ́ o àwọn sì ń bọ́ takúrò ń bẹ̀ orí ẹ̀ náà làwọn sì dúró sí pé a ò gbọ́dọ̀ bẹ̀rù a ò sì gbọ́dọ̀ padà sẹ́yìn a ò gbọ́dọ̀ bẹ̀rù a ò sì gbọ́dọ̀ padà sẹ́yìn pé lákọ làwọn náà wà lórílẹ̀‐èdè Benin bí ìbọn o lákọ làwọn wà o àwọn ò padà sẹ́yìn lérí Yorùbá nation o bẹ́ẹ̀ náà dẹ̀ ni ìyà yìí tó ìṣẹ́ yìí tó ìpọ́njú yìí tó táwọn sì ń sọ títí táwọn fi débi táwọn wà yìí náà wọ́n lórí ẹ̀ náà làwọn sì dúró sí o àwọn ò padà sí ẹ̀yìn wọ́n wá ní tí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lè ṣe fáwọn tínú táwọn fi dùn báyìí níbi táwọn wà lórílẹ̀‐èdè Benin náà ni wípé.
Well, that is coming all the way translation of that statement for Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. A very good evening to you, Mamawa Bosse. Good evening to you, Mamawa Ojo Stella, and every one of you that have joined us on this broadcast. We are just about some 20 minutes or so. Before we go, let us also hear some of those interlude of what we're expecting. But before that, there's a video that I want us to hear the audio. You can watch that video on our YouTube channel. This was one of so many of the late legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti. We are so scared. Let's hear this.
When you are revolutionary and you talk the truth, people will come and slap you down. Then you talk the truth again, they lock you in jail. Then when you are very strong and you talk again, they may kill you. They may even burn your house down. Like they burnt my house down at home. Now, when they burn my house finished, some friends who are very, Africans know they are very afraid of life. Hey, fella, yourself, don't talk truth again. You see, they come and tell you not to say the truth again. Then I tell them and say, they never hear anything at all. Then go hear pansa pansa.
And before we just, I'm going to play that again. And this so much, fits into what Chief Sunday Igboho is going through right now. His house was burned. The federal government sent in machineries, DSS, and the military in their hundreds. Now we know exactly more of the atrocity committed after the 8 people have been released. Now we have so much information of what happened, what transpired in that house on the 1st of July when they were killed. A very good evening to you, Stella Balogun. Welcome to the program. Every single one of you that have joined us, Lawa, Mujib, Adepoju. Now we know part of the atrocity that the federal government committed. But if you hear what the late legend Fela Anekola Kukuti says, when people look at the atrocity that they've done at Chief Sunday Igboho's house, a lot of people also put a blame on some individuals that they were the reason why Chief Sunday Igboho had all this atrocity on his head. Some of you were also giving up, that they were, you were fed up, that the situation was getting out of hand. But what we forgot to remember is when you are demanding a peaceful revolution, be prepared for a tyrant government to also come and attack you. Yes, you're quite right. Mamawa Oluwatoyin Omolara Fatima says, great legend himself. Let's hear it one more time. When you are a revolutionary, just like Chief Sunday Igboho, somebody that believes that his people needs to be elevated from the atrocity of the Fulani and the upstart of Nigeria as a kingdom of our own. You must also be ready for criticism and sometimes death. But death was something that the federal government wanted to eliminate him on the 1st of July, but only the Creator saved him. A very good evening to you, Olatunji Abiola. Good evening to every single one of you in every location, wherever you are, from Malaysia to Singapore to Japan to New Zealand to Austria to Switzerland to Canada to Germany, Italy, Spain, United Kingdom, America, Malaysia, Jakarta. In every part where we are, in India. I spoke to a brother of mine in India yesterday. I said, good evening once again. Let's hear Baba 70.
And you talk the truth.
When you talk the truth, so when you talk the truth and you are very strong and determined, just like Chief Sunday Igboho, you can tell that so many politicians, both from the Yoruba, the Biafra, the Middle Belt, might not love what doing. Most especially the Fulanis.
And you talk again.
When you talk again and you keep talking, just like people say, Chief Sunday Igboho talks too much. But what you forgot to remember is we are dealing with people that are now telling us, good evening to you, Mama BC Makonjola once again, that now, today, from the news coming out yesterday, the Afenifere is advising every Nigerian to go and defend yourself because the situation is now getting out of hand. So the reason why someone like Chief Sunday Igboho was advising us as at last year with so many media around the globe discussing the reason why we need to opt out of Nigeria. Exactly 1943, we're just about 15 minutes away before the end of this program. It's still Starr Radio UK. Is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. State of the nation. Nigerians should defend themselves against bandits at Afenifere. Let's hear more from Baba 70 himself.
They may kill you. They may even burn your house down. Like they burnt my house.
They may even burn your house down. They might even kill you. Chief Sunday Igboho was a target by the federal government. His house was burnt. His house was attacked.
Our home. Now, when they burn my house finished, some friends who are very Africans know they are very afraid of life.
Nígbà tó súnlé bàbá wa Chief Sunday Igboho tán, àwọn kan bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń bẹ̀rù pé kí leléyìí kẹ̀? Ilé lẹ jóná báyìí, ilé lẹ bàjẹ́ báyìí. What I'm trying to explain to those of our listeners from Kenya, from Uganda, that might not understand that language, means that people that were scared, they were worried, they were concerned that what could have happened to a house worth millions of naira completely damaged. But what they forgot to understand is we are fighting for a good cause.
Hey, fella, yourself.
Again, they will say, Chief Sunday Igboho ti tó now, ẹ̀yin gan tí ó ti pọ̀ jù. Is that not what some of you were saying?
Don't talk truth again.
They will tell Chief Sunday Igboho, ẹjọ́ tẹ̀ ń rò yẹn, òtítọ́ yẹn wọ́n fẹ́ gbọ́. Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ò ṣe é gbèjà ìjà ọmọ Yorùbá. You know, some people were saying that in their own comfort zone in Europe. They were telling that ìjà ọmọ Yorùbá ò ṣe jà, kí lẹ́yìn gbèjà ọmọ Yorùbá fún. But they forgot that the same country they're living now, people fought for them to stay now. People fought for them to have a good business that they can run and good electricity and good welfare.
See, they come and tell you not to say the truth again.
They are telling Chief Sunday Igboho, don't tell the truth anymore. Ẹ má tún sọ òtítọ́ mọ́. Mama Stella Ojo says Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho Osha is not a terrorist and not a criminal, and I totally agree. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo Yorùbá. Chief Sunday Igboho, ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo Yorùbá.
They never hear anything at all.
Fela Nicola Kokuti says, wọ́n ìtẹ́ tí gbọ́n kankan rárá. They never hear anything. Oh yes, I do not call them bandits. It's the Nigerian media that call them bandits. These are terrorists. I would never call them bandits. But each time you look at the Nigerian papers, the media, it is always labeled as bandits. These are full terrorists. Thank you very much.
Then go here.
And that is why Chief Sunday Igboho says I should tell every single one of you in that statement that we released earlier that he still stands with Yoruba nation and not going back. Let's hear this quickly before we continue the program. These are all activities coming up this month of September. It's a very, very busy month. And every single one of us is invited from the 14th to the 15th, the Million March that is coming up. We must all participate. We must all attend so that we can tell the international community the reason why we're not to opt out of Nigeria. A million man freedom march to the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly and the team taking back our sovereignty, September the 14th to the 24th of September 2021. Nigerian Indigenous Alliance, Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, present the Million Man Freedom March. It's all happening. Venue, park across from UN, Doug Amas Plaza, E47 Street. We are marching on the 14th and the 15th and the 24th. For more information, please visit www.ninasffn.org. We have in there some of the leaders that will be attending from the Middle Belt Block, Professor Yusuf Turaki, also Mr. Tony Nandi, the Secretary General Ninas and leader Lower Niger Congress. Also, we have the Emeritus Professor Banji Akintoye, the Chairman Ninas and the leader of Ilana Omo Odua Worldwide. Please, those of you in US, plan ahead and let us make it to that event. We also had the news coming from the legal representatives of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But before I go on that, you all saw the news of the senator's son that was killed over the weekend. It seems somebody within the government, somebody that knows him as a pilot, leaked out the secret of wherever he was living, and he was eventually attacked, strangled in his bedroom. What do we know about the situation with Nnamdi Kanu as we speak right now? It seems the DSS have also not just handled the legal representative of Nnamdi Kanu, they've also continuously blocked access for his legal representative to have opportunity to see him and meet up with him. Also, according to Father Mbaka, warns the federal government, free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now or more trouble coming to Nigeria. You cannot hold someone that demands a self-determination for the Biafrans to opt out of Nigeria. Also, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu legal representative, Barrister Ejiofor, seems to be having a very difficult to have access to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is what he said some 23 hours ago on his official Twitter handle. I'm talking about Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, the legal representative to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We were practically stripped naked. It is no longer safe to visit Nnamdi Kanu. The lawyer lament the inhumane treatment. And this is not just to Nnamdi Kanu. This also happened to the 12 that the DSS took away from Chief Sunday Igboho's house. We've had a lot of what took place. People were beaten. They were maltreated. Injuries were sustained. Their bodies, they were almost killed when that invasion came through. All this information is still being digested as we speak right now. And that is the same thing. DSS stripped us naked during our visit to our client, Nnamdi Kanu. This is coming from Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor, who is the lawyer for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that is demanding a total self-determination for the Biafrans to opt out of the contraction we call Nigeria. It's just about 7 minutes before we hand over back to the studio this evening. I would like to appreciate every single one of you that have joined us in the midst of a very, technical glitch. But we hope next week, wherever we are reporting from, we will have a better connection. What is going on? Which way forward, Nigeria? The state of Nigeria is the conversation this evening. Once again, let's touch on quickly what is trending on Twitter. It's Happy New Month. Happy birthday to my friend and those of you celebrating your birthday today. We can see that London is still in total lockdown due to the Extinction Rebellion. They've been out almost on a daily basis for 2 weeks. And so much roadblocks have also taken place. Let's look quickly at Ilana Omo Odua diaspora. If Nigeria is not dismantled, the fate of Afghanistan awaits Nigeria. Hashtag Yoruba Nation now. Hashtag End Nigeria now to save lives. That is coming from Ilana Omo Odua. Again, let's take a look at some of what is trending on other part of Twitter as well. Simon Ekpa at Simon_Ekpa. IPOB has a huge stockpile of bombs across Nigeria, Buhari reveals. And he says, tell us about the weapons you gave to Boko Haram, those weapons you want to acquire from Taliban. This is Simon Ekpa. Also, he says, quite a lot is happening, but we will continue. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now, or more trouble coming to Nigeria. Father Mbaka wants the federal government. Let's touch quickly on one or two more tweets before we start winding down this evening from London, where we're reporting from. 5 minutes before we go back to the studio, it is still Starr Radio UK, and we'd like to appreciate all our viewers from different parts of the globe. Ifa Funshaw at Ifa Funshaw Graphics. This is not a cause, but there can never be peace in Nigeria. A country where there is no justice can never be peaceful. Do you agree with her? The most important thing I did for myself while growing up is to outgrow Abrahamic religion and all the lies I was taught in the school. Another thing I did again was to begin self-education about African history, of which I am still studying because African history is a lifetime. Yes, they were being stripped naked, the DSS. Stripped naked, the legal representative that went to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Is that what you want to know? There's still more that will come in a couple of weeks with all the 12 or the 8 that have been released by the DSS. Some of what they went through has really touched some of us. So let's quickly touch one more from Ifa Funshaw. I have asked this before. Nobody gives me answer. Maybe some of you will give me the answer in just 3 minutes before I leave you this evening. What is the culture of Nigeria? Question mark. What is the language of Nigeria? Question mark. Who created Nigeria education? Question mark. Who created Nigeria? Question mark. We have been robbed off from our language, history, culture, because British created Nigeria and gave us the identity. Do you agree with her? Do you feel the same? You want me to repeat that finally again before we start saying good evening? I have asked this before. Nobody gives me answer. What is the culture of Nigeria? Question mark. What is the language of Nigeria? Question mark. Who created Nigeria education? Question mark. We have been robbed off from our language, history, culture, because British created Nigeria and gave us the identity. And if we won't be able to go further than this, all I can say is, make sure you join me again. Same time next week on Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'd like to appreciate once again my producer, Frank David in the house, actually working behind the scene this evening. But tomorrow, stay tuned as we join the Starr Radio Morning Show at exactly 11 o'clock with more update about Nigeria. Good evening to you, Ajayolu Atosin. Good evening to those of you in Port Harcourt. Good evening to those of you in Castina, and those of you watching us in every part of the globe. We can't go further than this, but I hope we've been able to serve you the full appetite of which way forward. Good evening, Sulaiman Ibrahim. My name is Ola Yomi Koiki, and you've been watching Starr Radio UK Niger Voices every Wednesday. I'll be back again, same time next week, and I'll hand over back to the studio. Bye for now.
patient before we reach the promised land. It had to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there, and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go?
Thank you very much, everyone, and I have to go now. Bye for now. Mo kí gbogbo yín o, ẹ ṣé gan ni o, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti bá wa dá sí ètò náà. It's been a long day already. We've had our program, and I'm sure you've all enjoyed that program. Kò gbọdọ̀ sú wa, kò dẹ̀ gbọdọ̀ rẹ̀ wá. We must continue the fight against the tyrant government of Buhari and the APC, and we must tell them, Nigbo, Nigba, enough is enough. And it is time that we end that shithole contraction, fraudulent Nigeria that has failed you, me, and the millions of Nigerians. Kò gbọdọ̀ sú wa o, kò dẹ̀ gbọdọ̀ rẹ̀ wá. A tún máa rí yín títí dìgbà yẹn. Mo kí gbogbo yín o, ó dàárọ̀.